free granola for the parade. Yeah. Gotcha.
Hi everyone, this is Alex with Unicorn Riot. I'm here in Denver, Colorado at the Thatcher Memorial Fountain at City Park, where there is a rally going on, which is somewhat separate from the official city's celebrations that they have annually. The city has an annual parade, which is a mix between a march and a parade. And they're starting at the MLK statue, which is about a half a mile down the road. This particular rally is organized by the Poor People's Campaign, as well as Black Lives Matter 5280, which is the Denver chapter of Black Lives Matter, as well as Denver Homeless Out Loud, and the Party for Socialism and Liberation. And the reason why they're having this rally is to shed light on how they believe the legacy of Dr. King has been co-opted by capitalism and corporatism, and they believe it's high time that changes. And they're trying to bring poor people back into the conversation of MLK. So that right now there's about 100 people here at the rally. They're going to be starting in a few minutes. I think they're waiting for a few more people to get here who are planning to speak. A little history of this MLK parade and some alternative events that have happened on this day in Denver. In 2016 at the parade, Black Lives Matter 5280 actually basically took the parade over and got in the front and became the leaders of the parade. And the purpose of that was, again, to call attention to the corporatism of the parade. And they had specific demands. One was releasing tapes of Michael Marshall, who was killed in the Denver jail. It seems like they're starting right now, so I'm going to head on over there.
Starts off with somebody moving, and then it changes out what happens in there. That's because it changes. And I sing, and it's gone on, and we all together sing far too long. We repeat, gone on far too long. Yes, it's gone on far too long. I go back to the first line, somebody's hurting my brother, the first time through, my sister, my neighbor, etc. And we all sing together. It's gone on far too long. And we all end together with it won't be silent anymore. We won't be silent anymore. And it sounds like this. Whoa, somebody's hurting my brother, and it's gone on far too long.
So they're going to be singing a song right now.
I tell you it's gone on far too long. Whoa, somebody's hurting my brother, and it's gone on far too long. And we won't be silent anymore. I like the rhythm. You can use more of that.
So back in 2016, when Black Lives Matter 5280 attempted to reclaim the traditional way of celebrating MLK nationwide, but also specifically in Denver, and they took over the parade that year. The reason was to shed light on on how Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy is falsely perpetuated in many ways. So part of the reason was because they wanted the tape showing Denver Sheriff's deputies murdering Michael Marshall to be highlighted. They wanted the mayor and council members to truly fight for the poor and repeal the urban camping ban. That's also another part of this year's rally, to bring to light the situation with the camping ban and asking for the repealing of it. Also to decriminalize homelessness, which is a part of that, and create true affordable housing. Another demand was to change the name Stapleton. Stapleton is a city right outside Denver, and it's named after someone who was in the Ku Klux Klan. Another one is to demilitarize the police and honor Dr. King's commitment to community by diverting $12 million of money towards the police to rehabilitation programs. So that happened in 2016 at this parade. There's also a history of this parade being disrupted by white supremacists. In 1992, white supremacists held a counter event that erupted in violence, and since then there hasn't been something similar, but that did happen in 1992 in Denver. Yes, it's gone on far too long. Well, it's gone. And as many of you probably know, today there's also an event happening in Virginia at the Capitol there in Richmond. It has to do with gun control laws and people being in opposition to those gun control laws. Martin Luther King Jr. actually tried to purchase a gun after his house was firebombed in 1956, and he was denied due to gun control laws, which is an interesting part of history that not many people know.
All right, this one is kind of a revitalization or a remix of a song from the original 1968 Poor People's Campaign that Dr. King was starting at the time his life was ended. Let me get this on.
Would it be easier for you if I stood up? It's off to the side?
And here I am.
And this song simply says everybody's got a right to live. And before this campaign fails, we'll all go down to jail because everybody's got a right to live.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move this party. Eric's going to break this shit. Everybody's got a right to live. Then y'all take it across the street on that note page. Eric, let's go. Everybody's got a right to live. Everybody's got a right to live. And before they send you to jail, everybody's got a right to live. Everybody's got a right to live. No exception. Everybody's got a right to live. Oh, everybody's got a right to live. Everybody's got a right to live. live. Everybody's got a right to work. Everybody's got a right to love. Everybody's got a right to
Are you guys going to the march?
We're gonna build our stage across.
Poor people camping. Check it out.
So folks right now are marching from the original meeting spot, and they're going to be setting up another area where folks will be speaking. So this way, when these folks share their alternative views of how this day should be celebrated, it'll be closer to where the city's official Denver Parade start is happening. So this is the 35th annual Martin Luther King Jr. Federal holiday. It first became a federal annual holiday about 20 years after his assassination. So in the background you can see a large crowd. That's where the city's official start to the parade is.
Let's be in front, Vinny. Let's choose the spot on the spot. Y'all, we're staying together. What about right here?
Everybody's got a right to live. Everybody's got a right to work. Everybody's got a right to dream. Everybody's got a right to love.
So again, we're here in Denver, Colorado at City Park. This is an event that's happening as an alternative to the city's official way of celebrating this Martin Luther King Jr. Day holiday. And this is organized by the People's Campaign, the Poor People's Campaign, excuse me, and Black Lives Matter 5280, Denver Homeless Out Loud, as well as the Party for Socialism and Liberation. There's about 100 people here. And they're walking from the original meeting spot closer to where the start of the official parade is, to hopefully get the messages of these folks heard by the people partaking in the city's official celebrations.
We must love and support each other.
They're chanting an assassination poem.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
We must love and support each other.
We must love and support each other.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
We must love and protect each other.
We must love and protect each other.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
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 I feel like it's like right here. Like making a circle here. But
I called upon all men of goodwill to be
We're going to make a semicircle right here.
religious bigotry. I I never intend to adjust myself to economic
You guys,
conditions
we agreed we
that
were
will
not
take
going to
necessities
just
from the minute to give luxuries to the few.
back up to
Leave
the
millions of God's children smothering in an airtight cage of
We're
poverty
disrupting. We're just
We
in the midst
agreed
of an
we were
affluent
not
society.
going to
There's some disagreement on how close this counter event should be to the city's official rally that's going on.
We can even face this way.
Like I said, we're just going to step back to these trees right over here and make a semicircle. Like I said.
You gotta laugh.
Thank you guys.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started here. First speaker we have today is Ari. She's going to speak from Black Lives Matter. Thanks.
Good morning. Thank you. Before I begin, I need for us to take a moment to acknowledge that we are gathered here on occupied Ute, Comanche, Arapaho, and Cheyenne land. The LM 5280 was gifted this medicine wheel at Standing Rock, and we were granted permission to carry it today by Chief Lee Plenty Wolf of the Oglala Lakota. Always we must honor these nations, from each infant to each ancestor. In everything that we do, they must know that they are not forgotten.
Yes.
All right. Can y'all say Black Lives Matter one time?
Black Lives Matter!
All right. Can you say it like they really matter? Like you
Black Lives Matter!
Yes, all right. All right, I see y'all. I see y'all. I see each and every one of you. Sometimes it's enough just to be seen. And it's so good to see all of you. Can you see me?
Yes!
We see you.
Whenever I'm asked or I volunteer to speak on something, I always think, oh yeah, that'll be easy. I'm a writer. I'll just write something, it's no problem. Like a damn fool. But then I sit down to write what I need to say, and I'm stuck. And I stay stuck until I remember that this is not quite the same thing as writing and reading my poetry. Standing up here right now, I want it to feel like we're having a conversation about all of this. So that is my goal. My goal when I write poetry, no matter what I'm writing about or how dramatic I get, is always ultimately, if not to be thoughtful or thought-provoking, then to at least leave people with something truly beautiful. But this doesn't feel beautiful to me. This work, the work of Colorado Poor People's Campaign, the work of Surge, of D-Hole, of BLM, all of our work, all of the organizations and people represented here, all the work we're doing, it just doesn't always feel that way. And you know, just before he was assassinated, Dr. King and many others called for a unification of the poor. They sought a radical redistribution of economic and political power through a kind of moral revival by force. And they issued this enormous rallying cry for capable hard workers to fight together against the dehumanization, discrimination, and poverty wages that had become characteristic of this country.
Amen.
And we are still here.
Yes. Yes.
We are still here.
Yes.
Half a century later, still most of us struggling to survive, still united under the same community of hardship, and still fighting to dismantle the same toxic structures.
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry.
Of the oppressor is bitterness. That's true in most cases, I think.
Sometimes you just want to look away, right? Because all of that can feel so ugly. But not today. Today, we're not doing that. Today, I see y'all.
Good morning, Denver,
And that has to be where we find the beauty in what we are doing.
Martin Luther King Jr.
Yeah, we're still here. But we are still here. And the fact that we still have to be here just confirms it. They don't see you. Governor Polis does not see you. Mayor Hancock does not see you.
Nope.
The Downtown Denver Partnership does not see you.
Nope.
The citizens of this city who are complicit in the cruel and unusual punishment of homeless people do not see you.
Nope.
And most of all, they do not want us to see each other.
Come on.
Because when we really see each other, it's too clear. We are stronger than them.
Yes.
Yes.
So the one thing I ask of all of you before you leave here today, the only thing I really, really need from any of you is for you to look around and find a face that isn't so familiar. I want you to find someone here this morning that you don't know. And you make sure you look that person in their eyes and you say to them, I see you. I see all of you. And I refuse to look away. Because no matter what happens, whether or not the city stops misappropriating our tax dollars on this appeal, whether or not the mayor continues to treat our disenfranchised communities like we do not exist, whether or not they lift this ban on literal survival and stop the needless persecution of the most vulnerable members of our society, you can leave here today knowing that I saw you. And I know you all saw me too. And I know, trust me, I know, that may not always feel like enough, but it will always be something truly beautiful. We came here, we saw each other, and y'all know what comes after that. Thank you.
In the background, the Denver official city
So I want to introduce
parade
Michelle, who is one of our
playing
tri-chairs of the Colorado Poor
clip
People's
of
Campaign.
MLK.
She has a few things to say.
Hey y'all, what's up? I can't hear you and I don't like that. I said, what's up? That's what I'm talking about. Do y'all know why we are here today? Here and not there. Do y'all know what it's about? Do you understand that Dr. King's legacy didn't have a damn thing to do with the elite? Do you understand that the way to win this battle is right here, together? Girlfriend said, look around. Let your neighbor know that you see them. I want to take that up a notch. Look around and let your neighbor know that you love them. Let them know that it matters if they eat. Let them know that it matters if they have a place to sleep. Let them know it matters if their children can breathe the air in the school. We stand together in love. We stand together in power. We don't have another 5 or 10 years to wait. We will not take no for an answer. What I said was forward together.
Not one step back.
I said forward together.
Not one step back.
I said forward together.
Not one step back.
show you right, y'all.
Had to take that literally to move forward. Is April here right now? April Young? Anywhere? Okay, she's not here, so hopefully she'll be here soon and she can speak, but you might see these things being handed out that say Elijah cried power, that Janine cried power. Raise your hand if you know who Elijah is. Elijah McClain. For those of you who don't know, who don't have your hands raised, Elijah McClain was a young black man who was killed in Aurora when he was walking to the store because he had an illness that made him wear more clothing, and police in our community, our Aurora community, felt that was a threat. And so Shanine was supposed to be here to speak about her son, and she decided not to because I think she's overwhelmed, but she just didn't make it. And April might be here to speak about him later. But if you see this, we're going to do a lot of things today called Cry Power. Colorado cried power. Say it. Colorado cried power. Colorado cried power. Elijah cried power. And Shanine cried power. Say his name. Elijah. Say his name. Elijah. If somebody wrote from Denver this out loud, wants to come up? Therese?
Hello. So I'm no replacement for Jerry Burton. Jerry Burton should be here right now speaking, but he's sick, so he's not here right now. And what I'm going to say is in remembrance of all the folks like Jerry who have been ticketed, harassed, and moved on for a law that says it's illegal to cover yourself with anything. This crowd right here means a shit ton. This crowd of folks that are saying together, because I know that's why a lot of y'all are here, because you've seen what's going on. You've heard the outcry about a city that's defending a law that's been ruled unconstitutional as cruel, because it says you can't cover yourself and survive, and that's why a lot of folks are here. And what I thought when I was here just listening right now, what came to my mind is I hope that all of y'all can be in the hearts and minds of folks who are facing this right now. So I want to tell everybody when I go out on the streets today, hey, there was 50, 60, whatever this is, 70 people gathered saying that this is a crime, that the city is a criminal, the mayor is a criminal, not you, not anybody who is right now surviving on the street without a home. So there's a whole lot that's been happening in the past couple of weeks. Jerry Burton, who some of you guys might know, got a ticket for surviving a few months ago, back in April. He said, I'm going to fight this ticket. We're going to take this ticket to the court. He actually asked for this ticket because he's not going to sit back and let this happen without people standing up and fighting for it. So he got the ticket. He fought it in court. We won in court. The local the local judge ruled that this law is unconstitutional. It's a violation of the 8th Amendment cruel and unusual punishment, which says if you have no other option, if you have to be out on the streets, and shelters are not an option. That's included in this ruling. Shelters are not an option. That if you are criminalized for that behavior, that is cruel and unusual punishment. So the judge ruled that, and now the city said, we're going to ignore that ruling. We don't care that the judge ruled it unconstitutional. We're going to fight it and appeal it and bring it to a higher court and try to win there. Well, you know what that higher court is going to say? It's going to say this is a cruel law, and we're all going to be a part of that fight. So over this next 6 months or year or so, we're going to be in courts constantly fighting this law, and y'all can be a part of that. You can be a part of that by showing up. You can be a part of that by speaking up online. You can be a part of that by building relationships with folks who are on the streets right now. Because the difference between living in a tent and living in a house, or living with a blanket, and living with your friend, or living with your mom, or living with an ex-partner, all of these things are the same thing. It doesn't matter where you're living. We are all human. So there's more to be said, and I'm thinking that Michelle is going to lead us in that direction, because I'm hearing voices. Okay. All right, so we'll close it out with that. Thank you.
Let's hear it for Therese again. You did rehearse out loud. We hear it for Therese again. You did rehearse out loud, please. So the Colorado Poor People's Campaign is part of a national movement to confront the issues of poverty, systemic racism, ecological devastation, and the war economy. This is a movement that was started in 1968 by Martin Luther King Jr. that is a revival today of that same movement that brings those issues together as a fusion movement. So we're not just about one issue, but we are to say that poor people are impacted by all those issues, that black and brown folks are impacted by all of those issues, and we must confront them together. So right now I want to introduce Russell with the Party for Socialism and Liberation, who will talk about the war economy.
Thank you, Vinny. So right now, I'm with the PSL. Right now we're working overtime day and night to build the anti-war movement in this country. We're working alongside many organizations around the country, and I'm so honored to be here with the Poor People's Campaign, with Denver Homeless Out Loud, with Black Lives Matter, groups that are bringing back the real legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King, talking about what he talked about. He's not some harmless icon, somebody who had a dream, who didn't want to fight. You know, he wasn't the person that Ronald Reagan or Ted Cruz or Hillary Clinton are talking about when they talk about Dr. King. Dr. King was hated by the upper class, by the liberal establishment, because he spoke out. He spoke out against poverty and racism and militarism. And he organized poor and working class people to fight back. And that's what we need to do today. A lot of people don't know, the day after Dr. King delivered his famous Beyond Vietnam speech, every major corporate newspaper in this country, the New York Times, the Washington Post, they said in the most condescending way, "Stay in your lane, Dr. King. This has nothing to do with civil rights."
That is our lane.
That's right. That's right. Dr. King was right. He knew that racism and war and poverty, it's all the same fight. We're all fighting against the same people. Dr. King said war is the enemy of the poor. Right now there are 41 million Americans who are going hungry right now. There are 500,000 people in this country who have nowhere to sleep. Just in Denver, last year, over 184 people died because of homelessness. But what does our Congress do? Democrats and Republicans. They pass $1 trillion war budget. They say, let's spend $1 trillion to go around the world and kill poor brown people. And it's not just abroad. Our police department's here today. They're militarized. They're armed to the teeth. They're going around killing people with impunity. Dr. King said that the U.S. is the greatest purveyor of violence in the world. And 50 years later, that is more true than ever. The U.S. is engaged in war all around the world, and it has sanctions on over 30 countries, and it recruits for its military with a poverty draft. I think any person in this crowd could think of a better use for $738 billion. How about homes for everybody in this country? How about universal health care? How about clean water and good food for everyone who wants it? So if we want to live in that world, the world that Dr. King was not just dreaming about, but fighting about and organizing people to fight for, that's what we got to do. We got to do what Dr. King said. And I'm very proud to be along here with everyone today. Let's grow this movement, let's keep building, and let's fight for what Dr. King fought for.
Thank you, Russell. Eric, would you like to lead us in another song?
Yes.
All right, so Dr. King spoke of this kind of fusion of poor people coming together across demographic lines and across bubbles that might focus on certain issues as a new unsettling force in the life of our nation. And that's where this song takes off. It says, we are a new unsettling force, and we are powerful. We are a new unsettling force, and we are here. We are a new unsettling force for liberation, and we've got nothing to lose but our chains. And it sounds like this. We are a new unsettling force, and we are powerful. A new unsettling force, and we're here. A new unsettling force for liberation, and we've got nothing to lose but our chains. We are a new unsettling force, and we are powerful. A new unsettling force, and we're here. A new unsettling force for liberation, and we've got nothing to lose but our chains. We are a new unsettling force, and we are powerful. A new unsettling force, and we're here. We are a new unsettling force for liberation, and we've got nothing to lose but our chains. I'm gonna move it up a little and we'll keep singing. We are a new unsettling force, and we are powerful. A new unsettling force, and we're here. A new unsettling force for liberation, and we've got nothing to lose but our chains. We are a new unsettling force, and we are powerful. A new unsettling force, and we're here. We are a new unsettling force for liberation, and we've got nothing to lose but our chains. We are a new unsettling force, and we are powerful. A new unsettling force, and we're here. We are a new unsettling force for liberation, and we've got nothing to lose but our chains. No, we've got nothing to lose but our chains.
Folks are kneeling right now as the national anthem is being sung by someone a part of the city's official MLK celebrations.
everyone is free. No one is free till 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 everyone is free. No one.
In the background, that is the MLK statue in City Park.
No one is free till everyone is free. No one is free till everyone is free.
Our next speaker is Jesse from Extinction Rebellion. Are you here by me somewhere? Thank you, Jesse.
Hey everyone, my name's Jesse. I'm with Extinction Rebellion. I'm going to apologize because I have no idea what I'm about to say. I did want to start actually by thanking Poor People's Campaign, Denver Homeless Out Loud, and Black Lives Matter 5280 for allowing us to be here in this space. I feel very grateful for that. So, Extinction Rebellion is trying to do the thing that all of the other climate organizations have, I don't want to use the word failed to do, but We want to stand in solidarity with our brothers, our sisters, our siblings of color, our brothers, our sisters, our siblings who are poor, are unhoused, all who need help. Our fourth demand, because we have some demands in Extinction Rebellion, is for a just transition. And when we say that, we really mean that. We don't want to create a better world or stop climate change from happening if we have the same bullshit system that got us to where we are today.
Yes, that's right.
We know that we can't actually succeed in what we are trying to do if we do not have everyone on board with us. And we know that in order to get everyone on board with us, we, as Extinction Rebellion, which is a predominantly white and white passing group right now, that we must show up for movements like this, and we must stand in solidarity with you all. And that's probably all I can say that's of any value. So thank you again. We're very grateful.
Next I want to invite up Eddie Soto from the Enough Action Coalition.
My name's Eddie Soto. I was fortunate enough to go in another country, Mexico, where we understood that we have to fight for the poor. The religion that I was brought up was based on Temple of the Mount, right? We have to help the poor. Then I came to the United States and found a very different religion, one of separation and hate and everything else. But we're here today because cities and corporations has taken over our heroes and holidays. They've turned Martin Luther King to, we have AT&T, Kaiser Permanente, and everything else. They've done the same thing to Pride. It wears the names of Coors, a man who hated us, all of us, who hated Latinos, who hated LGBT community, everything. And we need to stand up. We want to try to organize a Pride that knows no hate. We don't want to use the name of the Coors family for anything that involves Latinos or the LGBT community. And the city and some of the nonprofits that work on our issues, they're actually okay taking money from that hate. And we need to stop it, because you know what? Our heroes would have never stood with the rich. They would have stood with the poor and they would have said, enough. I don't want your money, I want your love. And we want everybody, like the homeless wage right now, after it got ruled unconstitutional, Martin Luther King would be there every day in front of the city telling them no way. And we need to be doing that. We need to be in front of city council. We need to be in front of the state capitol saying that this isn't, we don't want this. Let's shut them down. I like the idea of resistance to what the kids did at the Capitol, but it needs to be more. It also needs to be economic. If you know that they're spent, any penny that you spend on your enemy is $1 given for your oppression and for your fellow brothers' oppression. So quit buying Coors, quit buying Geo money, quit going to Wells Fargo. Let's spend money on our own community.
You're here.
We have a couple other events today. Does BLM want to speak about Black Lives Matter at School Week? Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. So Black Lives Matter at School Week is taking place the first week in February. If you are an educator, we are encouraging you to attend our resource fair that is this afternoon at 2 p.m. at the Colorado Education Association building, which is on Colfax that way. So Black Lives Matter at School Week is promoting, we have 4 principles that we're looking to. One of the biggest one is counselors, not cops. And so we are also having an event on February 5th with a panel around counselors, not cops as well. So keep a lookout for that. And you can find more information at our BLM 5280 Facebook page. And one more time, what time and place today? Today is at the CEA building at 2 p.m. for the BLM at School Week resource share. Thank you.
Grand risings, everyone. How is everybody today? Aren't we honored to be able to be here in solidarity
fighting like Martin Luther King, not only making it, quote, a dream, but carrying on his legacy, because the struggle is not over. In fact, right now, the struggle is a lot worse than it was then. I fought in the civil rights back then and now, and it's like, wow, we didn't have the homelessness that we had back then. We didn't have the poverty. So, what I say, power to the people!
Power to the people! The first day that marks the best days of our lives.
Just got something to say real quick. Forgot to mention this, but has everyone heard about what's going on with Iran? Trump assassinated their top military leader. The U.S. just imposed new sanctions on Iran. This is after Trump pulled out of the Iran nuclear deal that Obama created in 2015. Just straight up just tore it apart and said, you know, we're putting sanctions back on you. They're trying to destabilize the country. There's very real possibility that the U.S. will go to a war with Iran. And I just wanted to mention real quick that on January 25th, that is this Saturday at 2 p.m. at the Capitol building, there's going to be a march. A lot of different groups are coming. There's a march, No War in Iran. We'll be passing out flyers. January 25th, 2 p.m. I hope to see you all there. Thank you.
Grand Risings. How's everybody doing today? So yeah, we're all gathered in solidarity to remember the legacy and life of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. I just wanted to say a few things. Martin Luther King's history has been whitewashed, so it's up to us to bring it back to what it was. And I love to see these signs about full reparations for Black America now, because that is what we need right now. It's tangibles 2020. If these politicians want the black vote, they're going to have to do tangibles. That's it, that's all. The days are over of them just symbolizing and saying that they marched with Dr. King and that we're all in this together. We have not been paid our due. We built this country. There would be no country if it was not for Black foundational Black Americans. So we can never lose sight of that. So I end with this. Martin Luther King said, "You show me a man and a woman who is not will not fight for something, then they will die." How does it go? You show me a man or woman who will not fight for something, they are not fit to live. So all of us are fit to live. So let's continue this fight. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesse. My name's Amy Brown with BLM 5280. I thank you, Ari, for your amazing words and for representing so powerfully. There's just one thing I wanted to lift up to all of us this morning, to all of our ancestors everywhere. There's a lot of talk of Dr. King today. I want us to take a moment and salute Coretta Scott King, our sister. The movements that we stand on, the movements that we fight for and push forward now would not exist without sisters like Coretta, would not exist without siblings in the fight who have gone unnamed and unnoticed for decades and decades. Along with Coretta, I want to lift up the missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls and salute all of the sisters in this nation who are not getting the attention they are due, who are not getting the honor they are due, and who still show up every day to fight for all of us. Yes. So, yes, we salute and stand for the real Dr. King today, and let's also have a moment of celebration for all of the sisters and all of the siblings whose names will not be recognized today. Thank you so much.
We have one more announcement. Do you want to come up here and introduce yourself? Good morning. I don't know how many of you guys know, but there was that recent incident with Aurora PD and the one officer who was found on the job in his car in drive, drunk,
and they didn't charge him with a DUI. They didn't even fire him. And so I remember the police chief saying, well, you know, people need second chances, or officers need second chances. We're the second chances for our skin color, like us as people. And so I'm organizing a protest this Friday at the Ward Police Department headquarters from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. So I just wanted to give a shout out, and you guys to come support that. I really appreciate it. I mean, I think the problem is that there's this idea that they can just steamroll through us and that the community is not going to stand up and say, no, this is wrong, you guys need to be held accountable. So, thank you.
Alex, do you want to speak?
Such an honor to be with so many amazing human rights activists. I also want to honor Enough Coalition. We can hear them, right? I just want to remind us of two important things. When Dr. Martin Luther King gathered the Poor People's Campaign, it was because he looked in the eyes of the children, and all he saw was hunger, hunger, hunger. One apple cut in 8 pieces to feed so many hungry, hungry children. And from Marks, Mississippi, this is really important to remember, from Marks, Mississippi, a mule train of 15 covered wagons left Washington. If we went to Marks, Mississippi today, I want you to know there is still no hospital, no doctor. There's not even a grocery store. Now, in today's letter from the Reverend Barber from the National Poor People's Campaign, he said, we do not celebrate prophets. We go to where they fell. We lean down into their blood, and we pick up the baton, and we carry it forward.
Yes! Yes! Woo! For the angels that encamp around us, we thank you for the unity here today. We thank you for the peace that we walk in today, and we ask it in the mighty, matchless name of Yeshua HaMashiach the Christ.
All right, y'all.
Amen.
I gotta tell you, I'm scared to death all the way down to the bottom of my feet.
We got you.
But Martin had a favorite song. And Lord, we need you this day. We need you to march with us into the future.
Amen.
We need you to walk with us as we free our friends and our family.
Amen.
So I don't know if I can do this or not, y'all.
You got it.
But I'm gonna give it a try, okay?
We got you.
Precious Lord, take my hand, lead me on. I need your help to stand. I get tired, I get weak. You know, I get worn through the storm, Lord, through the night, lead us on. We gotta walk in your light. Take our hand, my precious Lord. Lead us on.
In the darkness of His precious Lord, winged in His in my life. Life is almost gone.
Hear my cry,
hear my call. Hold my hand, don't you let me fall.
Take my hand,
take my hand.
Precious Lord, lead me on. Y'all know it? Precious Lord, take my hand, lead me on. I need your help to stand. I get tired, I get weak, I get worn. Through the storm, through the night, lead me on. I need to see your light. Take my hand, precious Lord, lead us on. Hey y'all, we can't do this by ourselves. We live in a world full of hate, but we stand here this morning with hearts full of love. Again, I ask you to look to your neighbor. Don't just see them. Don't just pass out your heart this time. Let them know we're standing together, we're in this together, we're walking all the way together, and failure is not an option.
Precious Lord, take my hand, lead me on, let me stand.
I get tired, I get weak, I get worn. Through the storm, through the night, lead me on. I need to walk in your light. Take my hand, precious Lord, we go.
Take my hand, precious Lord, lead me on. Take my hand, precious Lord, lead me on.
Lunch is at 1373 Grant at 1 o'clock. That's 1373 Grant. There is no charge for food, y'all. And we got the good stuff because we went shopping, okay? There will be a showing of We Cried Power after lunch, and of course the community discussion. Thank y'all so much for coming out. We hope we see you in just a few short minutes.
And just as a reminder, we have the event today with the Poor People's Campaign. Black Lives Matter also has their Black Lives Matter at School event, an anti-war protest on Friday, I believe. There's the protest around the Aurora officer, and to please show up for Elijah McClain and his mother. I think one thing that we should talk about is how we support families as they are impacted by systemic violence. And please show up to confront the camping ban because it has been declared unjust officially, even though we've always known it to be. So thank you all for coming. Yeah.
Hey, could we end with a chant?
Yep. Yeah.
Hey, y'all! As we disperse this beautiful space in the memory of MLK, could we end the chant? End with the chant. So y'all follow me. Black lives, they matter here.
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 Your life, it matters here.
Your life, it matters here.
Cause black lives, they matter here.
Cause black lives, they matter here.
Your life, it matters here.
Your life, it matters here.
Cause black lives, they matter here.
Cause black lives, they matter here.
And we gon' be alright.
And we gon' be alright.
We gon' be alright.
We gon' be alright.
Turn it up now, we gon' be alright.
We gon' be alright.
We gon' be alright.
We gon' be alright. We gon' be alright. We gon' be alright.
We gonna be all right. Thank you.
So the rally we were just covering has come to an end. On the right side here, the large crowd in front of the MLK statue in City Park, that's where the city's official Martin Luther King Jr. festivities are happening. And then just 100 feet away here is where the rally organized by the Poor People's Campaign happened. Denver Homeless Out Loud, Black Lives Matter 5280, and the Party for Socialism and Liberation were also hosting this event. The purpose was to shed light on how Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy, as well as the celebrations nationwide, including in Denver, have been corporatized and how, and some folks here today explained how it's been whitewashed as well, and how his true legacy isn't being celebrated. Folks from groups like Extinction Rebellion also spoke. And there was just quite a few different groups from different backgrounds who spoke here in solidarity. This is the 35th annual Martin Luther King Jr. celebration federally. It became a holiday about 20 years after Martin Luther King was assassinated. And in Denver in 1992, during this parade, white supremacists held a counter event that erupted in violence. And today, as many of you know, in Virginia at the Capitol in Richmond, they usually always have a lobby day on MLK Day in Richmond, where folks will go and lobby for gun control, but also many other things. But this year specifically, since the governor is attempting to pass strict gun control laws, there are lots of people from different backgrounds going to rally there today. And something that I personally didn't learn in school, and I know many others have not as well, and which is definitely absent from the celebrations of MLK, the official ones, is that Martin Luther King Jr. attempted to purchase a firearm after his house was firebombed in 1956. However, he was denied the ability to purchase a firearm due to gun control laws, because many gun control laws and the history of gun control is actually deeply rooted in racism. And so here today, people were touching upon how disenfranchised folks and how marginalized people have been affected in ways that mainstream celebrations and mainstream media don't usually highlight, such as the camping ban here in Denver. One of the reasons why this alternative rally was created was to shed light on how a recent ruling by a Denver district judge he ruled that the camping ban is unconstitutional based on the fact that it causes cruel and unusual punishment, which is part of the 8th Amendment. And even with that ruling, and with a few others around the country that have happened in the last few years, saying that different camping bans are unconstitutional, like in Boise, Idaho. The city of Denver said that they are going to ignore that and continue moving people along and sweeping them. And when the city sweeps, that term sweep is when city officials like police and Public Works, which has a new name now, I believe it's the Office of Transportation and Infrastructure, and then privately contracted cleanup companies go to where people have set up outside communities with tents and other things to be able to survive outside. And the city employees with privately contracted cleanup companies tell the folks that they need to move and say that you have, a short amount of time, like 10 to 30 minutes to move all of your belongings. And then they offer that if they want to keep some of their belongings or all of them, but cannot move them at this time, then they can be temporarily stored for 30 days. And after that 30 days, they are thrown away. If people choose not to get them stored by the city and can't carry them, then they are at that moment thrown away, because there's always a trash truck that is involved in the sweeps as well. And in Denver, there are a few thousand people living on the streets here. Some of them choose to go into shelters and some don't. And so every night there are hundreds of people who are sleeping outside. But because of the camping ban, that is illegal. So this group here today wanted to have that be a main focus of saying that people shouldn't be criminalized for surviving. And the march, the parade, it's a march and parade, hasn't left yet. Looks like there's probably at least 1,000 people in the crowd. At the alternative rally, there were about 100 people. So part of the reason this alternative rally was created and was put on was to highlight the co-optation of Dr. King's legacy and how it's become drenched in capitalism and corporatism rather than what he was really for, which was for poor people, for disenfranchised people, for marginalized people. And folks here today pointed out that the elite and liberal people and people who are participating in the city's official MLK parade here in Denver, as well as the sponsors, like, they wouldn't have necessarily been in support of King at the time of the civil rights movement of when he was alive, at least if they were actually paying attention to what he truly believes. So the folks here at the alternative rally, some of them might be joining the parade, but it seems like a lot of them just wanted to come out to share their alternative views. If you appreciated our coverage today, you can go to unicornriot.ninja and check out our other reporting. We have a bunch of videos, streams, and articles you can check out. And if you want to support our continued work, you can go to the donate tab and give as much or as little as you're able to. We really appreciate it because that's the only way we're able to continue to do this work. Lastly, a few couple of things. Some folks here talked about a person named Elijah. He was murdered by the Aurora police a few months ago, and so they were highlighting him, as well as someone spoke about an Aurora police officer who was while on duty driving under the influence. However, nothing happened to him, and they were talking about how he should be given a second chance. So he's still a police officer. And folks here were asking where the second chance is for people of color who are shot and killed by the police. So thank you again for watching today. You can go to unicornriot.ninja to see all of our coverage. And if you appreciate our work, you can click on the donate tab. In the background here, I'll zoom in, that's the Martin Luther King Jr. statue. That's at City Park in Denver, and that's where the city's official celebrations are happening. And I'm not sure who's talking right now. The voice sounds like Mayor Michael Hancock, but I don't see who it is, so I can't be sure.
He stood in the gap for you. Didn't ask what color you were. No, he called on the ideals of this great nation.
This is a good, an interesting sign. It says, "Never forget everything Hitler did in Germany was legal." Pointing to that not everything that's legal is a good thing.
Folks, today, commit yourself to a new idea that America must no longer forsake.
Alright, well, thanks everyone for watching. You can go to unicornriot.ninja to check our other coverage out. We were here in Denver, Colorado, covering an alternative rally to the city's official Martin Luther King Jr. parade, which the folks at the alternative rally were saying doesn't accurately portray King's legacy and is full of corporatism and capitalism. So they wanted to have this alternative rally to showcase King's true legacy. and to come together as a community to push forward with helping out disenfranchised and marginalized folks in our community, or in this community.
The Lord will make a way. Mr. Meredith, what about all the men and women who marched and bled for the right for me to be in that room, to cast my ballot earlier that day? I thought about my 70-year-old mother, and God should never see that day.